Hey guys, I'm back with another video with the hardcore hype skyrocketing once again. I thought it was a great time to get some dungeon guides out there. I've been seeing a ton of low level deaths either in Deadmines, Black Fathom Deeps, Stockade, etc. So it'll be a great time to get some guides out. I'm doing this off the top of my head, so no script. So if I have any pauses or anything, it's just because I'm thinking of what I'm going to say. I'm going to go over some polls, some mobs, some things that the mobs do, some patrols, and hopefully this guide really helps you. So be sure to subscribe and I'll get some more guides out there. So go ahead, let's get started. Now, the first thing you see obviously is non-elite Defias miners. Now, a lot of people don't think that these mobs are very deadly, but let me tell you, they are. First off, they're humanoid. They will run. If you don't have a AoE, like especially a mage, these could be a problem. Now, the big problem why they are for tanks though, is they actually, let me have one hit me, see if he can stack it on me. They actually have a sunder debuff, and it's way more than just a normal sunder. It's 50% of your armor. I'm waiting to see if he can tag it on me. Probably not. But these miners do have a 50% armor debuff. Now, if you have 6 of those on you and then you have, an actual mob, it can be a problem. Now, another reason why these miners can be a problem is because if they stack with an evoker, which these are overseer patrols right here, but there are evokers, which are casters, they also have a chill armor on them. So if you're a tank and you hit that, you're not only getting a reduced 25 attack speed, you obviously can't hit the mobs faster. Maybe the non-elites get out of control, and then, it's kind of a problem. I do see a lot of people dying to the non-elite miners, and I think it's because people underestimate the 50% armor reduction, and that's big for low level tanking. And then add in, the caster debuffs and things like that. Not only that, everything in this dungeon runs from you. Everything except for some of the bosses. So that's something you need to keep in mind too, whether it's you taking the responsibility of hamstringing everything or marking mobs or whatever you need to do. So going forward, I might have to kill some of these just in case if I aggro them. But talking about those miners again, major armor debuff that they cast, and then stack that with other mobs, things could easily get out of hand if you're not paying attention. So right here, first boss, not really necessarily a boss, but you'll see that he has 2 watchmen next to you. He will pat outside of the door like this. So if you watch, see how he goes like that. If you pull him like this, these 2 mobs will pull. When he walks out like that, the mobs won't come. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to wait, or I'm not going to wait. I'm just going to pull. I'll show you. You pull him, the mob should come. I am 60, so it might be up there. They go, they pull. Now, if he was padding out here where he was when we originally saw him, the mobs won't come. So if you have a low level group and you just want to fight the boss and then kill these mobs after, feel free to do that. But obviously if you have a CC or a sheep or you're a Giga Chat group or you're buffed out, you don't really have to worry about that. It's just something to take precaution with. If he pats out like he was when you originally saw him, he will, he won't pull the mobs. So over here, coming here, obviously you have the patrol. Now I never really have issue with patrol that spawns behind us if you clear out fast enough. Some of your groups, you might be a little slow or something. Always check the left side here because there is a chance for a rare. It's Miner Johnson. He does drop a blue shield that's actually really useful and has really good stats on it. Again, this room, a lot of these rooms are filled with non-elites. So again, 50% debuff on armor. Here's an evoker right here. Let's see if I can hit him. Okay, I'm going to stop attacking. You see how I have the chilled between attack speed 25%. Flame strike, which is a massive AoE. So if you have casters just sitting in the melee for no reason, they're going to get blasted. Those flame strikes can make a difference in your raid. So I have this caster was about to cast 3 flame strikes. I had 6 mobs on me. Let's say I had the armor debuff, which I do, pierce armor. That could be a big deal for a group. And if you're a low level group, let's say 18, 19, maybe even 20, and you guys are, getting hit by all those flame strikes and you have that debuff on and the mobs are running crazy, that's how people die, especially if, you have runners. Now, opening this room, I always like to take the first maybe 4 pulls and just range pull them and bring them out. It's just safer. These do hit pretty hard. They don't do anything crazy, but they do hit hard, and a couple of them are ranged too, so you might actually have to line of sight. But as you can see, I'm just going to show you what I do for range pulls. Grab these. Now the boss in here does also patrol. So obviously you want to be careful of that. Let's pull some of these. There's actually a couple patrols in here itself. So you have this one that walks right up to you. You have the one that walks back and forth this way. And the boss is right up there around the hill there. So I like to pull most of these before the boss comes. Just like this. clear these out so you guys can see. Now, as you see, I haven't really worried about the patrol behind us just because we're clearing fast enough, which most groups can do. You never really have to worry about patrols anymore, but there is groups out there that are like, try to be careful. So like I said, none of these mobs do anything crazy. There's just a couple of them in here. There's a couple that like hide in these little crevices. And if you're not paying attention, you know, getting an extra mob on a boss, you know, it could be a problem for a low level group. Now this boss isn't necessarily hard, but it's a 2-part. And he does have a knockback. And then when he comes out of the shredder, he actually hits relatively hard. That Sneed, that is. Let's go ahead and get him out. You don't necessarily see him right away when he pops out. It takes him a little bit. There he is. He's out. Let's kill him. Now, like I said, nothing crazy in this room. They do it. The boss does do a disarm. He does a knockback and he hits pretty hard. The mobs are not crazy. There is one that hides in this corner over here, and there is one that hides over here in that left corner that we killed. You need to be careful of that. Again, more wizards, more evokers, more AoE. A couple mobs in here that you do generally need to be careful of. The next room, the smelting room, is definitely the room where I'm going to spend some time and show you some of the patrols so that way you guys can see them firsthand. That is a place that a lot of people wipe on. If it's not the Defias Miners, it's either the smelting place, and if it's not the smelting place, it's definitely the boat. Sorry, we haven't got to the boat yet, but we'll get there. Sorry, guys. Let me clear this out. Some of these, especially in the higher level dungeons, I'll have to spend a lot of time just clearing so I can make some room to show you guys. Now, I'm hoping I can get this debuff on me, but the craftsmen do have like a smelt, like fire debuff on you that actually does damage, and it can stack. So you need to be careful. Let me see if I can get it on myself here. See if they'll put it on me. I'll sit here for a minute. There it is. Melt ore. So movement speed reduced and fire damage. And I believe there's another one. Let's see if they can bring it out. Now 140 damage over 20 seconds. It's one of those debuffs where like you don't pay attention and then boom, it hits you like when you're not even thinking about it, because it's a 20-second debuff. And obviously the movement speed is a big thing too if you're running around chasing mobs. Now the one thing I do want to talk about once we get down here is obviously the patrols, but I do want to talk about the other goblins down here, and that is the engineers. So let me get to them. Now for these, I like to be safe. Now some groups do these different, but I definitely either have myself pull with the ranged weapon or I have a hunter do it. There is a mob that sits right here. This mob does pat back and forth right here. That is usually, it is always actually my first pull. You are going to have one pat, this guy right here that I'm marking as skull. He will walk basically all the way up to that first pack that we just pulled. That's something to keep in mind too. Now I want to talk about these engineers because they summon this golem. See him summoning that? You cannot interrupt that. You cannot use an interrupting spell. What you can do is you can stun. So you can gouge, or you can use a Hodge, a Hammer of Justice that is, and that is it. So hopefully maybe you have a couple rogues. Usually groups always have rogues because, you know, a lot of rogue loot in here, or you have a couple paladins. So you make sure you do that as well. So I'm going to take a second here and I'm going to look at some of these packs. You're going to watch some of them patrol, like this guy here. There is a mob that hides right around this corner. I pulled this. Now the engineer, he is ranged as well. So you got to kind of line of sight him up like this, up the ramp, and bring them up. Now let's see if we can get some of these patrols to come out and move. I know that, see, here's one right here. There's a lot that walk just back and forth from the smelting area to pull on this valve. And there's another one, as you can see, I have him marked as well. These are ones you need to be careful of. Not only do they pat, they are the engineers. So the engineers are the ones that have a ranged attack. So let's say you don't line of sight, they're sitting there range pulling you, they're going to pull extra mobs. It's going to get nasty. So pay attention to all your patrols. All the patrols in here do walk back and forth. As you can see, here's another one right here. They all walk to the edge of the room like that. He goes to the cannonballs, he goes to the anchors, and he goes to these boxes, triangle that is. They walk back and forth. So you can see, pay attention to that. Now, I like to range pull, like I said, but pretty self-explanatory. Just get the patrols. Always use this grand central station here to LOS. So let's say I pull this guy and I want to pull this one. Obviously, I would just use the LOS here and then wait for him to come to me. And then boom. Then you can grab this guy, LOS, and then you have both mobs right there. He leashes, perfect. Obviously, you know, being a little lower level, you don't want to maybe pull it like that, but I'm just showing you how you can use this center area here for an LOS spot. That's enough about this room. Just watch those 3 patrols that walk in between that area, and then you will be good to go. This boss doesn't do anything crazy. He just drops a ring that everybody likes to argue about, and everybody thinks they have entitlement to because it has 2 agility on it. So let's go ahead and kill these mobs, and then we'll move to the next room. Now, this next room here, you need to grab the blasting powder in order to open it. However, if you have a rogue, they can actually open the door with no lockpicking skill. They just have they have to have a lock picking skill of 1, and they will be able to open that door for you. Now, why is it important if they can open that door? Because it doesn't bring the mobs out. It opens a door and the mobs don't come running out. Now, when you blast it with the cannon, Smite says, "Hey, you over there." You know, he yells something and then like 3 mobs come out. Now, if you don't use the blasting powder, they don't run after you. They just patrol around and you can grab them much easier. Now, using the cannon, it's not really a big deal. It's just, you know, 3 mobs. But yeah, let's see if we can grab it real quick. Ooh, I was kind of worried there. The mob died right on top of it. Now, when you open this and you snag it, it is going to spawn a mob, a little overseer, and that's it. So let's go ahead and let's get this open so I can show you the cannon room. So Smite's going to yell, and then here comes some mobs running. Now, if you do that with just the rogue, remember the rogue only needs 1 lockpicking skill, then they just sit there and they patrol, and then you can pull them a little easier. But obviously, you know, us being 60, it's not a big deal. These mobs don't do anything crazy. The pirates, that is, they just have a little companion with them. It's more of the squall shapers that could be an issue. They do a fire blast, which is also a mage ability, just like an instant fire blast spell. And then they also do a Frost Nova. So Frost Nova is obviously something that could be big and something that could be a problem. Let's say they Frost Nova you and run, they pull extra mobs, you know, just something to be careful with. Now, a basic Smite strategy when you get to Smite here is always kill the ads first. You don't really want extra ads hitting you, especially if, you know, you're a low level tank, or you're having healing issues, or your healer's having issues, or you're just a low level group. You definitely don't want extra mobs hitting you. So either kill one and CC one, or just kill them both before you worry about Smite, because Smite in his first stage, if that's what you want to call it, he doesn't really do that much damage until he starts saying he's angry, which isn't until the 3rd phase anyways, and he pulls out his hammer. So let me get to Smite real quick and I'll show you what I mean. Now, there is a way to avoid him switching phases, and that's with the Hodge, a Hammer of Justice. If you Hodge him at the right time, now to be honest, I don't remember the exact percentages, but if you do it before he transitions into the next phase, you can actually get out of him swiping to the next phase. As you can see, the guards are switching to the next phases, sorry, are right here. So when I walk up to Smite, he's going to pull. Maybe. There he goes. Ads pull first. I always like to kill the ads first, or at least CC one and then kill one. And then let me see if I can get the Smite phases out. So obviously I hit him way too hard to calculate which phases he switches at, but I'm assuming one is at 50% and the next one is at 25%. So like I said, if you Hammer of Justice right before those, you can get out of him switching weapons and stunning you. So he does a lot less damage. Let's kill him. Let's see if we can get Mighty Hammer. That'd actually be kind of crazy. Let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. Now, going up on the boat, there's 2 ways you can go. I've seen people go both ways. I guess it's really whatever your tank prefers. If you go from the left side, you can actually walk all the way around, kill Cookie, and go around the corner. So I do want to show you that way. But I also want to show you this way too, just in case people do go this way. I think people are scared of aggroing mobs from the top level there, but yeah, it doesn't really happen. There is one mob that you can potentially aggro though, and I'm going to show you. Again, these mobs do runs. You need to be careful of that. Be fair, take the initiative and throw sunders, or I'm sorry, hamstrings out, or hopefully maybe you have a DPS that does that, or you have some sort of movement speed reduction, whether it's a mage pressing frostbolt or whatever. So now here, this is the mob I'm talking about. This mob right here, the Defias Pirate. Now, if you are low level and you pull this mob, he will pull with this mob. And if he comes down, he's more than likely going to bring an extra mob or 2 with him. So what I like to do is I will pull this mob from a range right here, the ship builder, sorry. I will pull him from a range spot. And then I will go here, right about here, and I will pull him with a ranged weapon. And I want to show you. So now he's pulled. If I hug the right side here, he's not going to grab other mobs. Do you see that? Do you see how I grabbed no other mobs? Okay, so if I hug right, pull him from that corner there, he comes down, he hugs the edge, and he doesn't pull any extra mobs with him. Now, I do want to show you the other way that people go, and that is around this way. Hang on, just give me a second to actually get there. If you clear this way, a lot of people do this way because you got to come down and kill Cookie anyway. So a lot of people do end up going this way. As you can see, the Squall Shaper there tried the Nova me. Again, they do Nova. So that is something to keep in mind. I'll just keep killing here while we go. Cookie. Now, like I said, people will go all the way around this way. It can get a little screwy with a hunter pet. So I do always have, if you do have a hunter, dismiss their pet right around the cannon area, because I have seen pets kind of bug out and run all the way back around the other way. And then they're pulling, 20 mobs with them. So please keep that in mind. If you have a hunter pet, usually have them dismiss their pet like right around this area. There's no need for it. And I've seen the pets bug out and go complete the other direction. And then you're in trouble because you're pulling, a good amount of mobs with you. So again, this is another way that you can go. You can go right around this cannon up here. Let me show you. Kill this mob right here. You can walk right around this cannon and it takes you to the same exact spot that we just were. Some people like this way better. It's a little safer. Now, obviously, it's harder for me to show you aggro ranges right now, but if you do walk up to this cannon, obviously, you're going to probably pull this mob and this mob, maybe even this mob. So be ready for that. Or, do what we've been doing, which is range pulling. So I'm going to show you a couple more range pulls, and I think these are the pulls. I don't know exactly where people are wiping, but I would assume it's on these next couple pulls right here. So I do want to show you things that you can do to make sure that these are safe pulls. Now, obviously, as I've been doing, if you hug left here, you never will aggro these guys, no matter your level. I've been in here. I've tanked this at level 15. I kid you not. I've tanked it at 16, 17, 18, 19, and higher. So if you hold this left corner here, you're not going to pull any mobs. Now, what I like to do personally is I will grab this mob right here and I will range pull it if you can. Sometimes it's a little goofy. If you can't reach him because he's padded over here, then you can always try and just grab this mob up here. And you should be able to grab it. If not, grab this one first. Of course, my line of sight's not working. Hang on a second. There we go. Okay. Pull that mob first, and then this one will come. That also is another idea you can do. So if you pull this mob will come. That's fine. These won't though, and this mob definitely won't either. So like I said, always pull this mob here, and then this one will come. Sorry, I kind of made that a little confusing. I didn't mean to. Now, obviously, you can just kind of charge in here. Pull the rest. Now, the next part I want to talk about is Greenskin, which is the boss that pats up here. He is higher level than you expect. So I have seen 18s, I've seen level 19s, I've even seen 20s that sit right here where I'm sitting, right in the exact spot. And if he walks right past here, he will aggro. He will come down and get you. He will come down, I promise you. I have seen it plenty of times. Here he comes. I will show you. He's going to pat right through here. Let's wait for him. Let's wait for him a second here. Again, if you are sitting right here or even anywhere around this direction and you are lower level, you will pull him and he will bring mobs. Now, if that happens, let me show you what to do. See how he comes right here? He will aggro you. He will, especially this mob right here. Now, if something hits the fan, if things go crazy, jump here. This resets the mobs. It makes them run after you. They'll sit in this corner and they won't bother you. They'll reset. It's an automatic reset. If you've ever seen people in LFG chat kind of troll about it or call it the wheel, this is the wheel. So if anything bad happens around these poles, say you aggro Greenskin and you need to run down, always jump on this wheel. It will reset the mobs and you can just jump right back on and get back started. So anyways, with Greenskin not here, what I like to do is continue to hug this left corner and I will pull these mobs as we go. And I make sure that I take the initiative to bring them all the way back down. And I tell my group that so we never have to worry about Greenskin pulling. You see Greenskin going around again. So let's say we have a group in here, a low level group. I'm going to wait till he pats around. He can't aggro from us this far, but he can right here on the stairs. Wait for him to go around. I'm going to come back up, and then I'm going to continue to hug left here and pull these mobs. Now I do take the initiative and I just grab this one so that way I can grab both of these mobs, and I do the same exact thing of bringing them back down, especially because one of those was a squall shaper, and the worst thing that could possibly happen is you fighting the mobs out there. He Novas the low level healer or a low level DPS and aggro green skin, and then you're really in trouble. So I always just take the initiative, like I said, and I always bring the mobs down. I think it's a great idea, and I think it's definitely something you should do. Now up here, if you hug all the way to the left like this, you're not going to aggro. I'm sorry, excuse me. If you hug all the way left here, you won't aggro him at all. So just come this way, kill the mob, and then obviously you can pull green skin right here. He does have a squall shaper with him all the time, so be careful of that Nova, especially if you lose aggro. I'm just going to range pull him just to shorten the video a little bit. Now VanCleef is the same thing as Smite. He will spawn ads. The strategy that I would say like 95% of my groups do is kill the ads that are with him first. Now, he does spawn ads at 50%. 2 more ads come out. If you do not have a Hammer of Justice, then you need to either kill the mobs, ignore them, and burn VanCleef, which he does hit hard, and especially, you know, dual wielding if a healer has low mana or is, you know, if you're just having healer issues, consider CCing the next group of mobs, whether it's having an off tank or maybe you have a priest fear or a sheep. Or what you can do is you can time VanCleef and you can actually stun him so he doesn't spawn the ads. So you can actually stun him at 50%, like right around 50%. I would go a little bit higher just to ensure that you get the stun off. Even then you get him below 50%, he won't spawn the ads. So obviously you are going to see me spawn the ads here because I don't have a stun for that. But as you can, I just wanted to show you, here comes the ads. So what I like to do is just mark the ad as we go, kill the ad first, kill the second ad, and then down him to 50, like 53, 54%, get that stun out, get him below 50, and then you won't have to worry about the second group of ads. Because as you can see right here, right around 50%, he's going to bring those ads out. Ads will come out. There they are. Again, try to use a Hammer of Justice if you have a Paladin right before 50%. It will stun him and he will not bring out the second group of ads. Otherwise, use some sort of CC, or if you know you're geared out, you can just burn down VanCleef and not even worry about it. But if you were a low level group, or let's say even an SF group, I definitely would consider CCing those mobs, either having an off tank or having an off healer, or just fearing the mobs for a little bit, sheeping the mobs, or having a hunter, you know, tank one of the mobs, hunter pet that is. But that was a very basic Deadmines guide. I kind of went through all the polls, all the things you need to be looking for. And, you know, I appreciate the video. I appreciate you guys watching the video, and I will see you another time.